Hey guys, welcome back to 1776 or Bust. Appreciate you joining me tonight. So on the table we have the Sig P320, and after looking at this gun all day long, because I've been carrying it actually quite a bit recently, I have to say my absolute love for this gun has improved dramatically. Now, just to make sure everybody's okay with everything, the gun has been safety checked before the video, so it is empty. Great. Now, the reason why I'm saying I'm actually falling in love with this gun again is because I feel like with all the new handguns coming out, with all of the, I guess you can say the reviews or infomercials on some channels versus others, you know, we tend to get caught up in trying to get the best firearm we can at that particular moment in time. And I think we're all guilty of it. I mean, I know I certainly am. And I think a lot of times when we kind of do that, we kind of lose focus on guns that we already own that are excellent quality handguns. Now, you know, obviously for me, I love the PPQs, I love CZs, I love Glocks. However, the SIG has never really sat well with me. I'm just not a SIG guy. Now, I know that might shock some people. Oh, how could you not like SIGs? But, you know, for me, it's just been that way. You know, I just don't like their double single actions. I'm a big CZer as opposed to a SIG. But that's my opinion. You know, obviously my opinion is mine. Doesn't necessarily have to be yours. However, one gun that SIG has made that I've always been very fond of is the Sig 320. Now, you know, I'm not going to go through any of the specifics here. I've done reviews on the guns. There's millions of these out there on YouTube. What this really is just kind of a general question to see what you guys think out there in YouTube land. And the question I really have is, do you think the Sig P320 is an overlooked handgun? Now, the reason why I say that, and I don't want to get caught up in the whole Army contract thing, I mean, that to me means nothing because if you know anything about how the government works and how they bid, usually it's the lowest bid that gets the job. So I'm not going to necessarily get involved in that discussion. What I am looking for are your opinions on whether or not you think this gun right here, the Sig P320, is kind of being overshadowed or forgotten about because of all the other guns that are available. You know, obviously right now in the smaller gun community in regards to the channels on YouTube, I think everybody's getting CZ crazy. Of course, I am one of those people as well. But I think a lot of times we tend to lose focus on guns that are existing already, that are just fantastic firearms. Now, the reason why I like the Sig P320, and especially now, I did put that Apex, Gen 2 trigger in it, whatever you want to call it, the advanced trigger, and it just makes the gun shoot a million times more amazing than it did. And if you've shot it and you're aware of how good this gun shoots, that trigger just makes it all that much better. Now, in regards to the Sig, another reason why I think this is such a great gun is because what it comes with. I mean, for me, I wound up getting the Cerakoted burnt bronze on here. Now, they call it FDE, but it's more like a bronzy. I know in the camera it looks more brown, but it really is a bronzy color. Now, this is the Patriot Brown. I've already talked about that. But it really is just a nice looking handgun. So aside from the way it handles itself, aside from the way it shoots, the aesthetics of it, the aesthetic beauty of the gun is awesome. It's just fantastic. It's very simple, but also it has that sense of, like, I guess, elegance, if you want to call it that. Now, of course, with the Sig, another thing that I've noticed that a lot of people, you know, well, I won't say a lot of people, but some people have concerns about is the slide. Now, especially if you're getting older or if, let's say, you have weaker hands, you know, I have an arm injury or had an arm injury, so my right arm isn't as strong as it used to be, but at the same time, I can still actuate slides. I can still hold the gun with a pretty good grip, so I'm not necessarily worried about that. But usually if people have some sort of compromised ability with their hands or something like that, you know, the slide pull on it is also something they have to be leery of. Now, I will tell you, for a big gun, this gun is extremely easy to actually rack that slide. I mean, even the press checks are super easy. I would tell you that for me personally, this is probably one of the easiest and lightest guns to rack the slide back with. And that's something that I think people should be aware of, especially people who suffer from, it could be anything, arthritis or whatever it might be. Also, controls wise, it's extremely simple. You have your takedown, you have your slide lock, and well, that's it. Again, it's ambi slide locks or slide releases, whatever you want to call it, but of course one-sided for the takedown lever. Other than that, the gun is, you know, ambidextrous, or I guess you could switch it over. It's not really full ambi, but you can switch over the mag release as well. So, I mean, overall, it's a fantastic gun. The Sig night sights are fantastic. The finish of the slide and the barrel is awesome. The polymer, not so great, but who cares? Overall, do I think this is an overlooked gun? Yes, I think with a lot of the hype that comes out with newer firearms, you know, we've had the P10 hype, we've had the Beretta APX hype, we've had the Walther PPQ hype, which unfortunately, I'm kind of the guy who's still kind of pushing that a lot. But, now that I look back at my P320, I've been carrying it, and, I've shot a little bit more recently. I have to tell you guys, it's a fantastic gun. For those of you who own one, you already know that. For those of you who don't or are on the fence or maybe looking at different guns, I would highly recommend you take a look at this. And if anybody tells you, well, it's got a high bore axis, and because of that, you don't want that gun, I'm going to tell you right now, this gun shoots softer, in my opinion, than the VP9 and the PPQ. I've shot all three of the guns. I've owned all three of the guns. And in my opinion, this is still the softest shooting gun of all three. With that being said, it's not going to be for everybody. Some people like it a little bit lower slide height. Some people don't care. Some people like, just the thickness of the slide and the grip. And, really it's going to be based upon what you think. So I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Leave some comments below. Tell me if you think it's some sort of I guess you could say a redheaded stepchild, I guess. Is that a proper way to say it? But is the P320 being ignored by the gun community? And if you know of any other guns that might be, put it down below also, because what you guys say sometimes, I also can learn a lot. So if there's a gun that I'm not familiar with that you think is kind of one of those that's been pushed to the side, let me know so that I can look at it and kind of get educated on as well. So I hope you guys have a great night. Again, Wednesday nights, we have our weekly chats, myself, KS Gun Guy, and Big Johnson. Also, if you haven't tuned into my podcast, I do have a podcast. It's Podomatic, and I'll put a link to that below. So if you want to be put to sleep, that's the best way to do it. So I hope you guys have a great night. As always, stay safe. And again, freedom is never free.